going on, y'all? All right. Okay. Today we're going to be doing a full 5-round rookie mock. Got one of my Dynasty League drafts coming up here on this Saturday. So I'm trying to get a few mocks out before I actually have a few of my own personal drafts. Hopefully I can help you guys out in the process. But yeah, let's get this thing rolling. I'll be drafting out of the 3 slot, mainly because in my draft coming up, I have the 1-6, the 2-2, and the 3-3. First round, I kind of have a tier of 4 receivers that I want. 99% sure that the running backs are going 1-2. Well, actually, I have the 1-1 as well, but that's kind of an obvious pick. But it's probably going to go running back, and then probably 5 receivers in a row if I had to guess. But there's really only 4 of them I want. So very happy to have the 1-6. 2-2, got my eye on a few guys. Likely it's going to be a receiver that falls because every year running backs get pushed way up. And then at 3-3, which could go a lot of different ways. Probably going to be a running back, could be quarterback. We'll just see how it plays out. But I don't really have a lot of team needs going into this. My team's pretty loaded as is. But yeah, let's get into it, see what we can do with our picks, talk through each one that I would have had. Okay, so 1-1. Okay, Breece goes. So that would be my pick there, 1-1, Breece Hall. Okay, so at the 3 pick, I do not expect Garrett Wilson to be there for me at 6, which is my legit pick. But for the purposes of this mock, I'm going to go ahead and take Garrett Wilson. Really, of the top consensus 5 receivers, being Garrett Wilson, Olave, Burks, Jameson Williams, and Drake London in some order for me personally. Burks is the odd man out for me. I would probably take him 5th of the 5. So if Burks goes top 5 in my draft, that'll be a win for me because I'll get to decide between Olave and Jameson, who I have rather closely. I've been kind of going back and forth on who I would prefer. But I would say my top 5 receivers in order as of today, probably Garrett Wilson, then Olave, then Jameson Williams, then Drake London, Treylon Burks coming in at 5. And then I have a pretty large tier gap going into Christian Watson, Jahan Dotson. You could throw Sky Moore in there, but that's kind of a loaded receiver group if you ask me. So I'm not really trying to get any Sky Moore if I can help it, but I don't hate the player. I don't know. There's a lot of mouths to feed over there in KC. We got Pickens. I don't hate Pickens there either. So one of the guys that I was targeting at 2-2, the main guy I'm targeting at 2-2 is Isaiah Spiller. Kind of debating trading up into the back end of the 1st to guarantee Isaiah Spiller. If you guys aren't aware, I'm a big-time Chargers fan. So it's more him going to the Chargers, which I think is an A-plus landing spot. I don't think Eckler's it long-term. Like, give him a year or 2, and I think it's Spiller's backfield, assuming he actually hits and can put up some decent stats. I didn't really love Spiller as a prospect pre-draft. Just the fact that he's a Charger will pretty much be the only reason that I'm targeting him here. I would definitely be happy to get James Cook as well. Ideally, I get running back, either James Cook or Isaiah Spiller. If not, I'll probably pivot and go receiver. John Mechie would be my next receiver after all these guys. Would also not hate Alec Pierce. Probably won't have to take him though, just how my rankings fall. Brian Robinson's another guy I would kill to have on my squads. Other than that, everyone to me is like third round talent. So taking them anywhere in the second is kind of high for me personally. But we're going to go ahead and take John Mechie here. David Bell, don't hate the player. We'll see how it plays out. I'm just kind of avoiding the Cleveland offense as a whole. Okay, so David Bell did go next. Wandell is kind of a little bit reachy. But yeah, John Mechie did get, I believe, top 50 draft capital. So him going out of Alabama could step in and be the number 2 behind Brandon Cooks in Houston pretty early in his career. We'll see how he comes back from his injury, but I'm not overly worried about that. Okay, Trey McBride, that's pretty good range for him. I would take him pretty much anywhere after top 15, 16, 17. He's probably pushing 18 for me, which I guess is the pick that he went at. But a few guys went ahead of him that I wouldn't personally touch, especially Wandell. Okay, so far, I'm kind of doing this as if it's my own personal team and my own personal roster. So adding Breece Hall, Chris Olave, 1116, Isaiah Spiller, 22. So those would have been my legit picks and who I definitely would have taken at those picks. And then this will be my legit pick here in the third round at 3-3. I do have Cam Akers on my team, so I could go Kyron here. Just more as a handcuff than anything. Zamir, I was real high on pre-process. I'm still high on him as a prospect. I don't think he'll suck in Vegas. I think he's already the best back in that backfield. I'll advise you guys to take him, I don't know, high to mid-second probably is where you should be taking him. I don't know what his ADP is doing way down here, but I, as a Chargers fan, refuse to draft any Raider ever to any of my teams. So we will not be drafting Zamir ever, or any Raiders for that matter. So we got kind of decided between Kyron, Pierce Strong, who I think is the better player. They have like 4 running backs over there. Doesn't completely turn me off of Pierce Strong. I kind of trust the Patriots to know what they're doing draft-wise, at least at running back. And I think they took Pierce Strong, what was he, 4th round? So it'll be an uphill battle for him to get on the field. But if he does, I think the Patriots are going to be inclined to actually play him and feed him, even with all the other guys there. Jerome Ford, I wouldn't hate. Thornton, just because of draft capital and speed and raw athleticism. He could be kind of a decent 3rd round dart threat receiver. Most of these receivers I'm not touching, though, to be honest. Pretty much after Alec Pierce, after Mechie, Alec Pierce, pretty much don't want any more receivers after that, to be fair. But let's go ahead. I mean, Ingram was a late pick, so I'm kind of off of him. I'll roster him if I can pick him up like post-draft when people are done drafting, 4th, 5th round type. But to spend this high 3rd on him, I think I can go a better direction. Either Ford or Kyron or Pierce Strong. Being 3rd round, we're going to go ahead and take Pierce Strong here just because I think he's the best player. And I'd rather have good players on my team than guys who may or may not get early work. So pretty happy there. Picking up that 3rd running back of the class. So getting Breece, Spiller, Strong, and Olave. That's a pretty good squad for me. most of these guys won't start. I would start Brees. Other than that, Olave would be competing on my roster for flex spot with Juju. Like I kind of already said, Kansas City, a lot of guys there. So if Juju's not getting volume and Olave is, he could easily see himself working his way into my lineup sooner than later. Okay, you see Jerome Ford go there at 310. Beatty's another guy I would consider rostering. I also have JK, so had Kyron or Beatty fallen to me back at the 4, those probably would have been the picks after Jerome Ford, that is, because I think Ford is probably the better player there as well. Down goes Keontae. I would have considered him there. Kevin Harris, another guy I like to pre-process. He's on the Patriots. He was like a 6th round pick though, so being that late, the only reason that I would consider him here is having drafted Pierre Strong. To be honest, I think if you're drafting one of them, you should go ahead and draft both if your roster can afford to roster them. But considering Taekwon is still there, Malik Willis is still there. Malik won't be here this late, at least in my draft. He'll probably go back into the 2nd or high 3rd, but we're going to go ahead and take Malik Willis just because we can't roster 30 running backs, and we already drafted 3 of them. But realistically, assuming Malik's gone here, I probably would have gone Kevin Harris. Those could possibly start getting early work in Green Bay. We'll probably be there 3, 4, 5, somewhere in that range for Green Bay's depth chart, I would imagine. But still a rookie receiver worth throwing a dart on, especially with the Packers for sure. Got Justin Ross way down here. Another guy similar to Keontae Ingram, like didn't get draft capital whatsoever. But Justin Ross has really, really good tape. Really good tape. So him going to KC, I could care less where he went. It's Justin Ross. He's good at football, in my humble opinion. We'll be drafting him all day, every day in the 5th round, maybe even the 4th round if all my other guys are gone that I'm targeting. But yeah, 5th round here. Let's go ahead and snag me some Justin Ross. Probably not a guy that'll stick on my roster very long, but at least through most of the offseason, I'll keep him around. Hopefully get some hype. Hopefully works his way onto the field at some point and maybe gets a target or 2 early. That's pretty much all I'm banking on for Justin Ross, is that he gets on the field ever, which is kind of a stretch for a UDFA, but he's good at football, so let's go. Yeah, at this point, nobody else is even hardly rosterable, if you ask me. So, at least at this stage. So, we're going to go ahead and, I think, call the draft there. Let's go through a quick recap. So, let me open this up completely. Okay, so again, 1st round, got Brees. I wouldn't hate seeing a lot of these running backs go ahead of Walker, but running backs kind of a need for, 10 out of 12 teams, and especially the guy drafting at 2 in my league. I already talked to him. He's going Kenneth Walker too. So, Brees Walker, then probably Wilson, Olave, J-Mo, London, Burks in some order. Probably take Christian. Well, I don't know. I might honestly have Isaiah Spiller next in my rankings. but probably don't need to take him there. If you really, really want him, you need to take him there at 8. But um, if we're talking receivers, I'd probably go Christian Watson, Dawson, and then Pickens. Sky Moore probably after all those guys. I would still probably take him over Mechie, Pierce, Bell. Tolbert, that's high for me. Jalen Tolbert at 2.7, that's high for me. I would probably only take him mid to late third round, but he probably won't fall that way anyway, so I don't have to worry about it. Damian Pierce, another guy would roster, probably back end second, but I don't really have any of those picks. Same as Algier. Algier could see early work, like just for the fact that Atlanta has 0 competent running backs. I mean, Cordero, I guess, but beyond that, it should be the Algier show, who I don't hate his tape. I hated his testing, though. Kind of same as Isaiah. Didn't really love his tape. Could have been worse. His testing, bad. But he's a Charger, so bold up. Let's go. Yeah, going into the back of the first, early second, you got guys like James Cook, who I'm very much on board with. Isaiah Spiller, Rashad White. I go back and forth on White. I don't completely hate the player. Probably won't be drafting him. Probably let somebody else take the shot on him, just knowing that Fournette's there for probably 2 or 3 more years. And probably going to get fed for 2 or 3 more years. So, I'm not really prioritizing Rashad White. I'd much rather have Cook and Spiller. Probably Brian Robinson over him as well at this stage. Mechie Pierce, relatively fade David Bell. He's like a mid to late second, but probably won't be touching him. Wandell, complete fade. Tolbert, complete fade. Trey McBride, I would take him. I would take him in that range for sure. That's not bad. Pierce, Algier. I mean, yeah, if you could get him late second, early third, that's not terrible. Definitely guys I would love to have on my roster, but not going to prioritize going and getting those guys. Now, Tyrion Davis-Price, on the other hand, he's a guy that I think should be going mid to late second. Between him and Pierce Strong, I'd probably go Pierce Strong. Don't really want Haskins. I mean, he's a fine handcuff for Derek, I guess. But, I mean, he's behind Derek, so what do you really expect out of him? But, yeah, I'd probably go Pierre, then Davis-Price, then Kyron, then Beatty. Jerome Ford probably right there with Davis-Price and Strong, kind of in a mini tier for me. Probably go Pierre, then Ford. Probably Pierre, then Davis-Price, just because he might have a better path to opportunity early. Then Ford third. Ty Chandler, I mean, they drafted a fast running back. They already have Nwangwu, so what is that pick? I don't know. Might be worth a roster spot, but it's sketchy. It's probably a guy that'll end up being on waivers early in a lot of leagues. Bayless Jones, don't really want him. He's an older prospect too. I mean, Tyquan, that's kind of a steal down here at 4.4. Calvin Austin, don't really love. He's hardly rosterable. Probably be the 4 or maybe even the 5 in Pittsburgh. He's more of a special teamer, if you ask me. More gadget guy. Throw him a little screen or end around or something like that. Maybe a little drag route here and there, some zigs, but I don't know. His route tree is going to be very limited. I don't really see him as a vertical threat. I mean, maybe if you're going like 4 verse, you think you can find a seam. If they're running a lot of cover 1 or cover 3 or something like that, maybe. But yeah, that's not the best landing spot, just depth chart wise. And the player's tiny too, so generally tiny players don't work out at receiver in the NFL. It's very rare. I mean, got Hollywood, so not going to say it's impossible, but he was a little bit later pick than Hollywood. Probably not nearly as good as Hollywood at route running and pretty much everything else. Malik. All these quarterbacks, I could see it going anywhere between third and fifth round. Malik will probably be a stash type guy, so you better have a starting quarterback if you're drafting Malik. Personally, I have Lamar, so if I were to get Malik, say at my 3-3, I wouldn't completely hate that. He could just sit on my bench, and then when he's ready to start, he'll be a valuable asset. Ritter, don't hate. Corral, don't hate. Pickett, I mean, just the fact that he's on the Steelers, he went way too high there at 212 for me. I think all these quarterbacks should be going third round at the highest, at least in one QB. Let's see. Max Bordy, yeah. Kenny Brooks, another guy who would probably roster like late, but he's buried on the depth chart. Liked his tape quite a bit actually, but I mean, what are you gonna do? He's in Philly. Yeah, that about sums up this draft. I think we're gonna go ahead and call it there. Thanks for watching. Feel free to subscribe, like the video. Peace.